Alright, welcome back. Of course, continuing with Griffin. After releasing their debut album in 1984 through Shrapnel Records, they would end up getting picked up by SPV Steamhammer to release their follow-up album in 1986. However, there would be some change. Both Thomas Sprayberry and Yaz, may he rest in peace, both would leave, and it's just left to Rick Wagner, Rick Cooper, and William McKay. Rick Cooper, though, ends up providing the bass tracks on here instead of, guitar. With that, would that indicate any change in sound? Maybe a bit. This is definitely a bit of a progression from the debut. While the debut is definitely good, definitely maybe not as, maybe a little better than Protectors of the Lair, but just not nearly. Yeah, Protector of the Lair is not too bad. This is definitely a really good album. Though there is definitely some change within sound, like I said. So, album starts off with Eulogy of Sorrow and Awakening. Eulogy of Sorrow is kind of a spoken word intro with Rick Wagner kind of providing a real good drum roll while spoken words are definitely coming in before building into the part that is known as Awakening, which is kind of a slow, very melodic, almost a little eerie, kind of making something that can build up to something that will really hit the person like a fucking bullet. And that is what they do, because it goes into the next track, which is titled The Hunger, which is the actual song on this album, and it's one of the thrashiest songs on here. This and of course throughout this album they do mix in quite a bit of thrash, kind of taking cues from like Liege Lord and so forth. So even like Thrust. This is definitely a much more aggressive album, but also epic at the same time, still retaining, some of that epicness that was provided on, Fly the Griffin. But on Protectors of the Lair, everything is taken to different heights. Of course, having Tame the Lion, Cursed Be the Deceiver, Entity, Watching from the Sky, Sanctuary, just Infinite Voyage. There's just great tracks on here. Truth to the Cross. Just some good tracks on here. But there is of course, a reprise track that ends the album, and it's titled Eulogy of Sorrow. Yes, and what starts off the album ends the album, but it's definitely a little different. Got the same sort of, title, but it's also a little different. But it's just a kind of a outro to this album. So they went and made something that was a bit more epic in a way. Other than that, this is definitely a good album. Probably not as strong as the first album. It's not as, but this is just an album that just has to take time to get into. You can't just get into it right off the bat. You have to play this more often to they really made something that was very much, almost at times even a little bit complex, because there was definitely some riff progressions here and there throughout this album. So with that, this would end up with being the last album for Griffin. They are still together, but interesting for this video. So, with that said, they are back together. So, if you have heard Protectors of the Lair, what are your thoughts? And if you have any thoughts, post your comments down below. This is Heavy Thrasher saying, I'm out. It's time to get on to the next band for USPM in a month. Later.